Hi everyone, it's me, Extreme Achiever, linguist, founder of Lingua and Lingua Plus. But you can call me Kate. Find out why in the video about why to change names or versions of your names in that video. And today I'm excited to talk about grammar. I'll say how we see grammar, how we perceive it, and why we can change our perception for the benefit of our learning and also teaching. You know, years ago, we have a life ago, one of the investees I stumbled upon Langacker's theory of cognitive linguistics. And it was so fascinating for me that I indeed decided to do my own research, like literally in a paper during my studies. And Langacker's vision, grammar, is about language as a psychological phenomenon, or that grammar actually shapes relationships, like semantic relationships, spatial, temporal relationships between parts of speech, like objects, right? So we talk about, of course, nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, prepositions, and so on and so forth. And if we look at it from this perspective, thinking, oh, we have with you the prepositions that indicate time, right, or space, it becomes a little bit easier. And also, what really, surprised me, the idea of grammar is a billiard pool. Like imagine playing billiard, you're in a pool, and looking at all these billiard balls as part of the speech and grammar. And what happens is that when you actually go, like you shoot one ball, it touches another one and another and another. And this energy creates movement, right? So each ball affects all the rest of the balls, right? Um, in the pool. And I believe that's the essential part here to look at grammar from slightly different perspective. Oh, if we look at a sentence, like he opens a door, we can see that opens here creates this context that he opens. Yeah, there is this action that impacts the door, it pushes the energy that direction. And the same we can have a look, yeah. So the same we can think about he takes up a phone, right? Or he takes up a call. And we know that take can be, well, can be interpreted, right, in so many ways if we don't have context, but then we have phrasal verb that says takes up. And suddenly we know, yeah, so that he takes up, picks up, whatever there, right? Or like, what about takes down? And suddenly we see that we have a preposition that indicates certain meaning and context that influences the verb, and then the verb again influences the noun. So as you may notice, I'm always like saying that there's a verb and the noun, and verb actually influences the noun. That what the Langacker, like his theory of billiard model, kind of implied that we have with you different parts of the speech, and some of them are leading, like leading balls. Let's say, this white ball, billiard. And then the rest are like scattered there. But in order to make sense of all of it, kind of to bring order to the chaos, we need this driving force. I was saying that this is a verb. We need to concentrate on the central verb, whether it's normal, regular verb, or it's phrasal verb, and then we need to see, like, we need to observe the relationships around this verb, whether it's noun, right, pronoun, and then preposition that actually influences the verb, and then the verb influences everything else. As of course, we look with you at the object that this verb influences, right? And then we may have an adjective connected to that particular object, and then of course have circumstances. And that's fascinating because it gives you a glimpse of, say, the logic, right? The movement, what happens in the language. And this is not only about English, because again, back in time, while I did my, little research paper, I didn't focus just in English. I picked up Portuguese, and I was comparing as well English and Portuguese. And in fact, if you look at Portuguese structure, you will see the same situation. Of course, you may say, what about other languages? What, for instance, what about German? Right? Or maybe what about Mandarin? I would say, again, we have a pretty similar situation that even though, say, the word order, right, maybe slightly different, especially in German, we may still observe this driving force in the verb. Because nouns, they are static. We say an apple and we just see it, right? But when we bite an apple, eat it, throw it away, or pick it, something happens, right? Motion. And our brain loves motion. And I know this from World Memory Championships because when we needed to memorize a lot of digits, cards, or words, we explained that indeed, according to neuroscience, our brain loves action, motion. Now it makes sense. So if we look at the billiard model and we say, all right, if we have verb, and verb is this white ball impacting most all the balls, yep. So what happens is that our brain always looks for verb, for action, and then looks around context. And I would say that if you are now, let's say, struggling with grammar, or you are trying to learn certain words, look at Langacker's theory model and think about, first of all, the context. Never learn anything out of context. Then focus on verbs and then see these relationships, like observe, trace these relationships, spatial, right, or like time, um, circumstance, yes, circumstantial relationships between all the words in a sentence, even if it's a very simple one. And if you're trying to progress, try to see how you can turn simple sentences in more complex ones using those circumstances. Because then you're still in the same story, everything is still clear, but then you start adding little details. You're picking up new words. And then you can also play around and try with different, phrasal verbs. Because as I mentioned, in phrasal verbs, we have a situation that a phrasal verb is just on its own, no context, can be anything. We just look, at the main verb, right? But then we look at the preposition and then context starts appearing. And preposition, this case, is an indicator, right? Influencing the main verb. And then the whole construction, verb, preposition, then pushes the energy to an object. And you can play around and you can try to use different phrasal verbs in the same context and see how they utterly don't fit. And then try to change the context in order to make this phrasal words fit. Well, I hope this is useful, because I know that there are so many different misconceptions about grammar. And if we start looking at it from this perspective, from Langacker's perspective, I believe it gets more entertaining and also a few things start making sense. Therefore, play billiard, learn languages, so learn grammar in context, and follow us, Amalingua. And this is me, Katrina Mativer, linguist founder of Amalingua, Lingua Plus, and I'll be back with new videos. See you. Bye.